Hey, sailors, welcome back. Mrs. McCaskey here, and today we are going to continue on with our showing versus telling. So, our learning target again is going to be using vivid detail, those ideas to really show the reader versus just telling the reader. So, we're going to continue with that. We're also going to continue with the appositive, and today we're going to get started on one of your first bigger writing pieces. This one, we're going to do some notes and planning. So, get ready. Let's get delved in. This picture is a nice little hint about what you'll be writing about today. So, first off, we're going to start off opening up our writer's notebook. So, right now, I'm going to ask you to go to Google Classroom and open up your writer's notebook. When you get your writer's notebook open, it's going to be that very first entry where it says Ideas Day 2. Go ahead and put today's date right here. And teachers, go ahead and pause. Give students a minute to get that writer's notebook open as we get going. All right, so let's take a look here. We're going to take a look at our connection to yesterday. So I want you just to take a minute and write a response to this question right here. What does it mean to show the reader versus just telling the reader? So just take a second, write a quick response. What does it mean to show the reader versus tell the reader? When you're done, go ahead and share a couple responses inside your crew. And teachers, go ahead and pause and take a couple of responses. Great. You guys should have talked about how showing versus telling is really painting a picture for the reader that they can see it, they can feel it, they can smell it, they might even be able to taste it. They feel like they're right there. So showing versus telling, and that's an important aspect in your writing. So something else that we just learned was the appositive. And right now, I'm going to ask all of you to take a minute and write another appositive. You're going to write this appositive right inside your writer's notebook. You're going to put it right here. And it says, create an appositive below for your friend, a bike, a pet, a longboard. So just take a minute and write an appositive. Don't forget that you have to have some punctuation. So right here, some of you might be writing yours about a brother or sister. So it might be my sister, a drama queen, always gets her way. All right, so take a minute and write your positive. Don't forget to have your commas here. And drama queen, that's a noun, and sister is a noun. So it's a noun that's describing another noun. So go ahead, teachers, pause, give students a minute to write their appositive. And once you've written your appositive, share it with another person in your crew. Excellent. Now that you guys are appositive experts, we're going to expect it on your next writing piece. So you can see this appositive right here. This example says, my best friend, a human garbage disposal, scarfed an entire hot and ready pizza in one sitting. This is totally true about my son. He can scarf almost an entire bag of pizza rolls in one sitting. I don't know how he lives off of those. All right, so we're going to continue on into your writer's notebook. There is an area that says mentor text. What do you notice? So we're looking right here inside your writer's notebook, looking mentor text, invitation to notice. What details strike you? So I'm going to read to you a little poem, and I want you to write down some details that really stick out to you, those showing details, the ones that you're like, oh, I can see that. Oh, I can almost smell that. Oh, it's just what I don't want to be able to see. So I'm going to read to you this poem, and this poem will be on the screen. And so you can just take a couple of minutes and jot down some details that really stick out to you. All right, this is by a very favorite poet of mine, Shel Silverstein. Most of you know him. And it's called Sarah Cynthia Sylvia Stout Would Not Take the Garbage Out. So let's take a look at this poem. Sarah Cynthia Sylvia Stout would not take the garbage out. She'd scour the pots and scrape the pans, candy the yams and spice the hams. And though her daddy would scream and shout, she simply would not take the garbage out. And so it piled up to the ceilings, coffee grounds, potato peelings, brown bananas, rotten peas, chunks of sour cottage cheese. It filled the can, it covered the floor, it cracked the window and blocked the door. With bacon rinds and chicken bones, drippy ends of ice cream cones, prune pits, peach pits, orange peel. gloppy glumps of cold oatmeal, pizza crusts and withered greens, soggy beans and tangerines, crusts of black burned buttered toast, grisly bits of beefy roasts. The garbage rolled on down the hall. It raised the roof. It broke the wall. Greasy napkins, cookie crumbs, globs of gooey bubble gum, cellophane from green bologna, rubbery blubbery macaroni, peanut butter caked and dry, curdled milk and crusts of pie, moldy melons, dried up mustard, eggshells mixed with lemon custard, cold French fries and rancid meat, yellow lumps of cream of wheat. At last, the garbage reached so high that finally it touched the sky, and all the neighbors moved away, and none of her friends would come to play. And finally, Sarah Cynthia Stout said, "Okay, I'll take the garbage out." But then, of course, it was too late. The garbage reached across the state, from New York to the Golden Gate, and there in the garbage she did hate. Poor Sarah met an awful fate that right now I cannot relate because the hour is much too late. But children, remember Sarah Stout and always take the garbage out. All right, so looking at Sarah Stout here, I want you to write down some things that you noticed. So right here, what details strike you? So I'm going to put the poem back up on the full screen. And what I want you to do is make sure that you jot down some details that really struck you. So teachers, feel free to pause a second and give students a couple of minutes to jot down some details. Once they do that, share out a couple of the gross details that really stood out to you. All right, you may have heard some different ones. Maybe it was yellow lumps of cream of wheat, because that stuck out to me. And I think it was not only the color, but also the texture being lumpy. And then the cream of wheat being that proper noun, it really just stood out to me. So what are some things that you noticed? And hopefully you shared some, and it really sticks with you. So we're going to continue on with our showing versus telling. And right here, we're going to do a little something called Grandpa Asked About My iPod. And so you're going to be right in that section. And it says, what does confusion look like? So think of those sweet little old grandparents who are very confused when it comes to the latest and greatest in technology. I know, for example, my dad just got rid of his flip phone and he now has a smartphone, and he cannot figure out how to answer it because he wants to just push a button. He just can't seem to grasp the concept that you have to slide it. So it's quite funny to watch him operate that. So we're going to take a look at this right here on Grandpa Asked About My iPod. And then we're going to write about what confusion looks like. Before we do this, though, we're going to watch a funny little clip. And this little clip is of a grandma and kind of her very first time working with Google Home. So take a look at this little video clip. It's pretty funny.
Here's the top Google result.
Google. What is raining today? Water.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it answered.
What?
It said yeah.
You say yeah.
Yeah, it's her.
Oh my God. Is a woman?
Yeah.
I'm glad to meet
What
you.
is this thing?
Hello, Google.
Hey, you're okay.
There's something from the
Google.
Alphabets.
You have to say hey, Google, or okay.
Hey, Google. Okay, Google.
What's the weather? Yeah.
What's the weather? Ask
What the weather? You want to know what is the weather
tomorrow.
tomorrow?
In Flagler Beach tomorrow, there will be showers with a high of 65 and a low of 56.
With this. I'm
What's it, man?
scared. I'm scared. It's a mystery. Oh my gosh. No.
Ask Google to play an Italian song.
Cuckoo. Hi, cuckoo.
You have to say hey or okay.
Hey, okay.
Google.
Tomorrow in London, it'll be sunny with a high of 41 and a low of 30.
From a minute. the temperature in London.
Mom, I asked her to play your favorite song.
Play your favorite song.
Cuckoo. Cuckoo.
Yeah, you're cuckoo, all right.
Cuckoo. Play a song for me. Piemontesina bella.
You have to say
Addio dei giorni passati. Addio.
So, okay, you don't have to tap it first. But to wake it up, you have to either say, hey, Google, or okay.
Hey, Google. Okay, Google.
Play an Italian song. And then
Play
it'll
an
light.
Italian
So
song.
it has to light up after you say that, otherwise it didn't hear you correctly.
Yes.
Io noi a un salame perché mia capisci cosa dice. I got it.
You're stupid because I can understand everything I'm saying to you.
Hello, Cuckoo.
Hey or okay?
Okay,
Google.
do it.
As you can see, she was really confused when it came to using the Google Home, as she kept saying, "Hey Google, okay Google," and it's pretty funny. But you can't just say, "Grandma asked about the Google Home." You have to show us, what does Grandma look like when she's asking about that Google Home? She's tapping on the Google Home. She's singing to the Google Home. She gets up and gasps and surprise at her Google Home. And so all of those are the ideas, the details, really showing Grandma being very confused in learning about Google Home. So right now we're going to do a little practice right. Here's our telling statement. Grandpa asked about my iPod. I want you in your writer's notebook right now to show me a confused grandpa asking about an iPod. He's never seen one before. What would he look like when he's looking at this iPod? What actions would he have when he's inquiring about this iPod? Describe the scene of grandpa really looking at this iPod. So right now, just take a couple minutes and show me a confused grandpa. So show me, what does confused look like right now? So teachers, go ahead and pause and give students a few minutes to show grandpa asking about my iPod. All right, well, some of you might have some different ideas going on there. You might have put that grandpa was squinting his eyes, or grandpa was scratching his bald head, or just turning that iPod over and over in his hands like, what is this thing? He might be raising his eyebrows or breathing heavily. He might just be adjusting those enormous glasses trying to get that iPod into focus. He might bring it up to his huge Dumbo-like ears and take a listen to it. So all of those ideas are probably a part of it right now. All right, well, let's continue and see a little example. But before we see the example, I'd like you to take a minute and share yours. So take a minute and share yours with at least one or two other people inside your crew. All right, here's an example of what yours might look like. And of course, yours will probably look different than mine will. Grandpa asked about the iPod. As he tried to focus in on my iPod, Grandpa squinted his eyes behind his enormous glasses. Baffled by this newfangled contraption, he scratched his bald head and he brought it up to his elephant-sized ears to listen. Turning that music maker over in his wrinkly spotted hands, he stared in amazement as the sounds of Panic at the Disco flooded from the earphones. So right here, it doesn't say that Grandpa asked about my iPod. It shows Grandpa being very confused and wondering about this newfangled contraption. That's what good writers do. They show, they don't tell. So now that you get what showing versus telling is all about, and you know all about fireball words, we're going to get all fired up and get started with our first writing piece. So this larger writing piece is all about showing versus telling. Now take a look at this image. This might be your bedroom. This might be your best friend's bedroom. This might be your brother or sister's bedroom. But this room is definitely a mess. Now, saying that the kids' room is a mess is just a telling statement. We're going to want you to show us the messiest, most disgusting room that you have ever encountered. And eventually you're going to write about it in a really detailed description. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to start to fill up a messy room. So right now, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and open up a Google drawing that is inside Google Classroom. And it's called The Messy Room, Ideas, Notes, and Planning. Again, it's a Google drawing. You'll need to find this. So I want teachers to pause and everybody to have this opened up on your screen. When you have this opened up on your screen and we're all ready to go, then go ahead and unpause the video. All right, great. We're all here now. So let's take a look at this Google drawing. Your job right now is to pretend that this is the messiest room you have ever encountered. Maybe it is your room, so it'll be easy to describe because maybe you'll just describe your own room. But whatever room you choose, it's got to be the most disgusting room ever. Your job is to gross us out. So let's take a look at this disgusting room. So first off, I'm going to look right here. I'm going to think of the most disgusting room. What would be on the bed? Well, maybe on the bed, there's a colony of ants, and they are carrying off some Cheez-It crumbs. Gross. Maybe on the bed right here, there's a pillow and it's stained with yellow drool spots. So I've come up with a couple things that would be on the pillow and on the bed. Now I'm going to move on to the dresser and the desk. What are some disgusting things I might find on a desk or a dresser? And I'm going to put some things on there. Maybe there's a glass that has cemented itself to the top with a green slime. And then I keep thinking of more things that I could put in here. Oh, and so I'd add some more. So once I finish doing the desk and the dresser, I'm going to move on down to the walls and the windows. Ooh, are the windows, are they coated with dust and dirt and we can't see out of them? Are the walls, is there an old chewing gum collection on the one wall? And maybe it has some nice pink fuzz growing off of it. And so I keep going what's on the walls and the windows. And now I'm going to go on down to the floor. What are some things that are going to be found in this disgusting room? So I want some details. What are some things that you're going to find on the floor? And just, list them down. And what are they doing? And what colors are they? And do the same thing with the nightstand and the closet. And you're just going to add in all these disgusting details. Fill this room full of the most disgusting things. What do they look like? What are they doing? And just fill it up. They don't need to be complete sentences. They could just be words and phrases, and that's totally fine. So your job right now is going to be to fill this Google drawing full of the most disgusting items that you can come up with that could be in a room. What we're going to end up doing is we're going to be taking those items and writing all about them. So your job right now is to work on these notes and planning and fill up that Google drawing. Once you get this whole thing done, see if you can add anything more to it, any more descriptions, any powerful word choice, any great actions that these items could be having, what colors and textures. Put all of those things into this. All right, so that's your job for today, because tomorrow we're going to start writing and describing this room so that we can picture it. And your job will be to make it the worst room we've ever seen. All right, one other thing, one last reminder before I let you get working. You need to make sure you've got your independent reading book. By tomorrow, you should have it so that we can start each and every one of our English class sessions with some time to really delve into our books and enjoy those books in some silent independent reading time. All right, sailors, I'll see you tomorrow when we get started on this writing piece.